Hey, I'm Nelson, and today I'm here in Vancouver with James.
Hi, what's up?
Hey,
Uh, my name's James.
and hey, James, why don't we hear about where you're coming from?
All right, so I'm coming from Atlanta, Georgia. Flew in this morning. Um, uh, Kind of got on the plane like pretty early. Been awake for about 14 hours right now. Got up about midnight, kind of Vancouver time, but it's 3 hours ahead, so that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in Eastern Time.
yeah, it's in the Eastern time zone. Vancouver's over here in the Pacific Coast or West Coast.
Oh, and how do you feel about Vancouver?
I like it. I mean, you can tell by the view behind us. I mean, it's pretty nice. Like the city's pretty upscale, and it's a very nice city.
And is it okay to share about more of your story and your journey with HTC?
All right, so with HTC, with Sifu, Dan Locke, I actually never heard of him until about a year ago, and that's when my wife actually found him. She's been kind of doing research on bettering herself and learning new skills and stuff like that, and came across Dan. Kind of liked his message, kind of liked his attitude with the red suit. Like we rich people, like poor people, they're like that. Like he kind of puts himself on this pedestal, and she really liked his attitude, like his like pizzazz, I guess, and the way he carried himself, and I kind of like clinged on to that as well. And I joined HTC season 9 back in February, March. I think I signed up like in the middle of February, started at the beginning of March.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the exact day that it started. I think it was like March 2nd or 12th. I can't remember the exact date, but went through HTC, graduated. Now we're here at CIB and CIB 2019.
Hey, would you mind taking a second to explain to our audience what is CIB?
All right, so CIB is Closers in Black. It's like an award ceremony slash training slash event. Like it's just like a big celebration basically, and pretty much Sifu comes out and he does like performances, which I didn't know about, and it's really cool. It's like if you're traveling, you basically say you could travel for business and write it off on your taxes. But it's like it's a learning. It's all about learning new skills and kind of honing your skill and building up those wealth triggers and actually like honing your skill more and taking it back home and really applying it in your everyday life. You know.
And how HTC had changed your life?
I was working at a warehouse, right, making about $2,000 a month when my wife actually kind of found Dan Locke, and me and her actually ended up quitting that job like right around the same time. Actually, a little over a year ago, about August, middle of August,
Mm-hmm.
2018, we quit, and we were living off our 401k, so we just had like this big lump sum of money, probably about $25,000-$30,000 that we were just kind of living off of for this past year, and back in about January, I got a job at a car wash making like $1,000 a month because like the money was getting, we were kind of being uh, spending too much and not really budgeting our money very well. So it's like it was kind of putting us in a big bind. So I kind of just got this little job, and because I knew about Dan Locke and I was kind of following HTC and I knew that I wanted to get into sales. Like I wanted to get into it because most of my life I've kind of tried sales here and there, never really had much success. Like I did like vacuum cleaner sales. People have done that before, and I actually sold only like 2 vacuum cleaners in like 2 months. So I only made like $400. It was
Whoa.
terrible. It was trash, and so I knew that I wanted to improve my skills by like taking HTC because it was something that I was kind of really drawn to
Mm-hmm.
ever since I heard about it. So for a few months I was kind of trying to build up the courage to actually drop the money to actually take the class. And my wife was out of town for about a month and I was feeling really terrible, like about myself, like lower self hitting me hard, just low self-esteem. I wasn't feeling like I was provided for my family, and
And
that's
when
how
does
bad it was. You know,
when does that happen?
what as far as what?
And when does the lower self hit you?
It really hit me when my wife went out of town because um, I told her to get out of town. I told her to go spend like a month at her mom's house, like in February
Mm-hmm.
of 2019. And ever since then, she was gone for about 25 days or so. And probably like 2 seconds after she left, I like completely broke down. I was like crying, and I was just missing her really bad. And I was really feeling terrible for myself because one, she kind of gave me like a little bit of an ultimatum, like, hey, you need to turn things around. You need to get like either take HTC and learn a new skill and start closing sales, or find a better job or whatever. Because she was kind of giving me the ultimatum that she was going to end up leaving me if things weren't going to turn around. Yeah. And I know it kind of piggybacking off to the original question of how did HTC change my life. Really going through HTC, it gave me more self-esteem, more confidence in myself about my skills and my abilities and the way I can communicate with other people and close them on deals and pretty much just talk to people. And by changing that, I actually, while working at the car wash, making $1,000 a month, at that time, that's when I put the money up for HTC and took the class. And right before I took the class, a friend of mine that I used to work at with the warehouse, he came up to me and he was like, he saw me at the car wash. He drove by, he was like, man, like, I think that's James right there. Like, he like was driving by the car wash. He turned around and came up and he basically offered me the job at this roofing company, right? Doing sales for them. And he offered me that because he kind of came up and he was talking to me about, oh, he makes about 10% on the sale of a roof. And me, I was like, oh, a roof job's probably what, like $3,000, $4,000. So I was like, oh, you make about $300, $400 on a sale. And he's like, no, the average roof is $10,000. So 10% is $1,000 a sale. And he goes, yeah, I think I did about 10 roofs this month. And I was like, you made $10,000 this month? Like, I was kind of blown away. I was like, okay, you know. And I go, let me go through HTC, and then I'm going to come talk to you. And as soon as I got on with him, the very first month, it's kind of like lead generation. You kind of go knock on the door, provide value, offer free roof inspections and things like that to prospects and people that you find whose roof looks like it has damage on it, like storm damage. And my first month, I did a lot of like kind of filling up the pipeline. Like, I did a lot of knocking.
Like generating leads.
Yeah, like generating leads, like finding...
who need your help.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was doing that, and it was actually kind of funny because I actually needed my own roof replaced. So I actually, I probably shouldn't say this, but I actually got my roof replaced and I got paid for it. So I made like $700 off of... so I got my roof completely redone and I made $700 in like a phone call. And I was like, wow, this is like something that's pretty great. I closed myself on the roof sale, but it was kind of cool. And then my first month, all the knocking and things like that I did, July was my first month. So I made the $700 like that for the month. So I mean, that's not good at all. But then the very next month in June I made $700, and then July, I made about like added together with June and July, I made like $9,600.
That is quite significant.
Yeah, like
quite a big jump.
That's like 9 times what I was making at the car wash, and like 3-4 times what I was making at my warehouse job that I was at for 5 years. So to say that HTC kind of changed my life, I wouldn't even be in Vancouver right now talking to you if it wasn't for HTC. Yeah. If it wasn't for learning that skill and having the confidence to go and do these sales, you know, and like it had a huge impact on my life. And
how does it go for your wife and her?
She sees me and she sees that I go out and I kind of do the knocking and I have closed these deals and have made the money that I've made in this short amount of time. And she looks at it and she's like, it's kind of completely flipped around. Like, she's more like happy to be with me. She's like proud of me, and she expresses it all the time. Like, even on this trip, like, unfortunately she wasn't able to come with me because we couldn't find somebody to watch our daughter, but for the trip, she even said, she goes, you need to make sure that you have a good time on this trip and learn as much as you can and really enjoy this experience, because it is kind of that wealth trigger. Like, I'm sitting in Vancouver, British Columbia, like one of the most expensive cities in British Columbia. In Canada altogether. And like, I'm sitting here and I'm about to meet the person who taught me the skill and go to the event. Yeah, Sifu Danlock. I'm gonna meet him, see him on stage, meet Dan Pena. So Big Dan, he's gonna rip the sleeves off of everybody's rented tuxedos. But like she wants me to really take in this moment, just be like, hey, I earned this from closing, and
Yes.
she really wants me to like. She said that she's so proud of me.
Yeah, definitely. You earned this
Yeah.
all the way here.
Yep.
And for us who have been through a journey, is there anything that for the people who are still going through moment in their life, is there anything that you want to say to them or any advice for closing?
I would say like anybody who's going through like a struggle, like seriously, I remember when I was at the car wash before I took HTC, like I was waking up in the middle of the night like shaking like from the core, like it was like anxiety or something that was like in my body that was just kind of like
keep you up at night.
Yeah, I was like tossing and turning, like I didn't know where I was gonna get, when I was gonna get my next check. I didn't know, like I was making at the warehouse I was making like 500 a week, and then at the car wash I was making like 500 every 2 weeks. It was like really just terrible money, and in that moment I had to have faith in the fact that I was gonna go out there and do the work, you know. So I mean, anybody who's going through like those struggles, it's like one, you gotta like figure out what it is that you're trying to do and where you want to be, because clearly if you're feeling terrible and if the situation isn't as ideal as you want it to be, then clearly there's something that you need to do to fix it, you know. And I would say like in those moments you gotta let go of the things that you did wrong, because you're gonna make mistakes, and then you have to hold on to the things that you did good, and you have to really remind yourself like, hey, I put in the work, I'm deserving, and I deserve the life that I want, you know. So it's like, it's kind of like a lot of the stuff that Seafood talks about.
It is.
You know, it's like that's the best I got as far as advice. Like just keep working. And I was actually watching, I don't know if you know who Grant Cardone is.
I know.
Yeah, but I was watching an Instagram video of his where he said you have to show up every day for the nickels and dimes, and then once in a while you'll get $1 million deal. You know, so it's like you'll never get that big boom, you'll never get that big success if you don't show up every day for the pennies, you know. So it's like really, in that, it's just, hey, you got to show up every day and you got to put the work in, you know. You put the work in and your life will change. And if you have a place that you want to go, and you put the work in and you have a vision of where you want to be, and you believe that you deserve the life that you want, and you show up every day, then I would say that would be the recipe for success.
Well, it's been a while. I haven't heard the words deserve and faith. All we hear is complain.
Yeah.
This is not what we want to go into.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that I hear your story and learn about how you come through and your journey from HTC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that it changed your life.
Yeah, like seriously, and my wife's glad too.
Okay.
But yeah.
And that is the story from James you heard. And my question to you is, when are you gonna make this jump? When are you gonna make this step with faith and to the life that you deserve? Well, I'm Nelson, and until next time, I'll see you then.